Good morning. It's Monday Morning Gasoline with me, Mikhail, and today I have the honor of having Michael Panic, someone who I've known since 2016, with us today. Michael, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Mikhail. I am doing pretty good to be up this early. I'm not a morning person, but I like to be up this early, and it does give me a little early morning boost. So glad to be here.
Well, thank you, man. Yeah, I think Monday, especially of all the days, I like to get up early, and I feel like I get a start about in front of everybody else. So by the time everyone gets online about 8 a.m., I've already gotten some things done. So it's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Michael, it's been a while since we talked, except for doing the tech check for this. Uh, Tell us a little bit about what you've been up to.
Yeah, so I'm Michael Panic. I'm a software engineer here in Birmingham, Alabama. And currently, I work for a company called Alloy. We're a agency, dev for hire type stuff. And we've worked with some very cool clients, working with some even cooler clients, and I've had the privilege of doing a lot of the marketing technology, building a lot of marketing websites, and that's sort of where most of my expertise lies. I'm also working on and co-founding a software as a service company that helps small businesses with social media marketing. Um, that's been a very interesting pandemic. I don't want to say hobby because it's definitely grown beyond a hobby. Definitely an interesting project. So those two things, take up most of my time.
So,
I
but
also say what now?
not to interrupt you, but you also write. Um,
Yeah, and so that was to say my third sort of facet is that I've recently started as a contributor for U.S. News and World Report, writing career guides and skill builder guides on technology, tech skills, getting started in tech careers, and all that kind of stuff too. That's been a very cool shift, especially because I went to college for journalism and I've never used it once before last year. So I'm glad to put my wasted money to use. It's been nice.
hey, not to be biased, and full disclosure, you interviewed me last year. Was it 2 years ago now? Yeah, it was last year at the
It was
like
last
middle.
year.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but it feels like last year was a whole decade in itself.
Yeah,
But
it
yeah, so
does.
you interviewed me for one of the web developer articles, and I thought it was really good. Again, biased, but
Yeah,
Uh,
well, you got to be
so
a little bit.
so it was that came from college, right? So you got an education in that, and but what made you go into like web design instead of journalism? Was it money?
So yeah, weird career path. I was literally going to apply at the local Kmart when I was 16 because I needed a job, and my mom called me like as I was driving there and was like, "Hey, my friend's husband is looking for a graphic designer to help him." And so I've been doing some graphic design since I don't know, since I was a kid. I got really into it really young. I've been doing HTML since I was like really, really little. I've just always loved it, always loved computers. And so she was like, if you want to do this, you need to call him. Well, I did. I didn't, apply at Kmart. And he took me on, and so I got a lot of opportunity really young. And going into college, I already had this job
I see.
as a bit of a developer. I was doing some development at this point, and I was also doing a lot of graphic design. So I went to school to study music because I really wanted to do recording. I wanted to like open a recording studio, and that's what I was interested in. School didn't offer that. So I was in music, and then music was really more like piano performance. And so I got out of that and was like, well, I guess I'm going to go into broadcast. That's the closest we've got. Well, broadcast was basically just journalism. So I learned a lot about journalism, very little about recording. And I worked as a developer the entire time that I was in school. I worked, part time and remote. And so that just kept on, kept on, and kept on. I kept that job. I got out of school. I kept there. And then, moved to Birmingham, and that sort of opened me up to a whole new world of opportunities that have always been in technology. And it's what I love, and I can't get away from it.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, even in your journalism, you're writing about technology, so
Exactly. Yeah.
that's
It's
pretty awesome.
just it's a passion, you know.
Well, so let's talk about some tech. There's some cool new
Yeah.
stuff happening. Well, I guess kind of cool. So I found this article, and actually, no, I think you might have found this article for us. Tesla's done some really interesting things lately. Um,
Yeah.
Most recently, they invested a bunch of money in Bitcoin. Um, it's kind of crazy for a car company to buy a whole lot of cryptocurrency. Um, what do you think about that, man?
So I really like money. I'm a fan of money. Money is a good thing,
Likewise,
and
likewise is great.
I like the markets, and I like to follow. And I'm not even kind of day trade or anything, but I definitely like to follow those things. And so especially when tech and money and finance overlap, I get really excited. And so I think there's some sketchiness with this whole Tesla Bitcoin thing. I think the SEC is about to crack down Elon Musk's throat over it, but their guys was like they said they were doing this so they could start accepting Bitcoin as payment for Teslas. But then, this was right on the cusp of Bitcoin having an explosion. They went from 30K to 50K in or almost 55K really fast, and I think one estimate said that they made like $1 billion after they
Wow.
bought all this Bitcoin. So it's definitely very, very suspicious. And the
Well,
SEC has serious rules against stuff like that,
well,
because
but
it's very pump and dump.
they do for stocks, but right. So cryptocurrency is sorry. People are actually watching us. That's probably a good thing, or a bad thing
Cool.
depending on how you look at it. So you know they have those rules for stocks, but the rules for Bitcoin, the rules for cryptocurrency aren't to that level yet. So
True.
while if
Yeah.
you had done this with stocks, they would definitely be in trouble. I mean, is this not just a giant fuck you to the FCC? I mean,
Uh, Probably so. I mean, so I would think so because of the way that Elon Musk is, the way he runs his companies, and assumedly the people that he hires, that would make a lot of sense. I think that I still think that Caesar always gets what is Caesar's, and so if the SEC and the IRS and anybody else wants their money, like they're gonna get their money, and so this could come down. But the other side of it is it's not pump and dump, right? We're dealing with the same thing with the whole GameStop Robinhood fiasco the last month. It's the same idea, right? Like they're not dumping; they're just pumping. I mean, he bought the Bitcoin, and then he announced that he bought Bitcoin, and then of course,
it went
people
up,
who are
yeah.
trying to ride this wave, yeah, they flood to it, and it goes up. Well, you're allowed to do that, like you said, because it's not a security; it's just cryptocurrency, and also because he's not dumping it off. It's not like they did that, and then when it hit 50K, they sold all of it. They still have. I mean, they don't have to report it, so they might have, but by all accounts, they still have that money because if they had sold it all off, the price would have hit huge. But actually, you know what? Let me pull up my stocks really quick because I maybe it has hit back pretty hard. Ethereum is what that's my crypto of choice, and it is down. And Bitcoin's down, but not like Tesla just sold
What
a
are we
billion
at?
dollars worth down. It's 50, almost 54,
That
53,
that's close to the
9.
top. I mean, that's still pretty close to the
Yeah,
top.
it's still way up there. So again, it's obviously not pump and dump. I think they were serious about. I don't really think it was a scam. I'm just worried that somebody will see it as that, and we'll see Elon Musk testifying before Congress here pretty soon.
That I could
That's
see.
the yeah, that's just what they like to do. They're like, oh, something weird's going on that I don't understand because I'm 80. Bring him to Congress. Let's check it out. I'm going to ask Mark Zuckerberg how Facebook makes money, even though that's the entire topic of this congressional hearing is about Facebook ads. That's still I love that. Oh,
Well,
God.
so let's talk about that. Let's talk about Facebook because that's the next article I had
Yeah.
on here. So recently, Mark Zuckerberg was talking about Facebook and said, "Let's make them hurt," which to me was just like very anti good. Like I don't know where exactly
Yeah.
to put that. What category is this? Like anti competitive? Is this just using their monopolistic powers, or is it just not good? Because anytime you're saying let's make them hurt, it just gives you like a little air of evil. Plus, if you give it a little action, let us make them hurt. It adds a little, maybe, I don't know. But what led to this? Because this is just like a weird thing. And since you're a developer,
Yeah.
can you can you explain to me what led us to uh, this competition?
Yeah. So Apple and Facebook have a somewhat tumultuous history with each other. There's been, there's a lot of issue early on with Facebook mobile app. And while Facebook is kind of the new blood in the game still, I know they're relatively old, but as far as these top tier competitors, they're younger than Amazon, Netflix, Google, all the other FANG companies. They're the youngest one, right? And so you've got Apple, who is seeing the writing on the wall that says we have to be more concerned about our users' privacy because our users are more concerned about their privacy. They've ridden 1,000 waves like this. They know this game. They know what to do. So they're putting the power back to the user's hands. They'll pivot. They'll find their own money, and they're not worried about it, right? They were never, I don't think, selling user data to begin with, so they weren't concerned. But this whole thing spawns from iOS 14. The new updates say that if you are going to collect any kind of user data, users don't opt out; they have to opt in to do that to begin with. So Facebook is terrified that they'll have to put up that notification, which they do, and people will say no and opt out, which they will. And Facebook was not ready to pivot something like this because their whole business model is based on ads that are highly targeted. Now, we can get into privacy talks and all that. My opinion is that most people have zero, you have nothing to worry about, and you're just an idiot if you opt out of it. I will personally opt into it. I want you to follow me all over the internet. I want to see ads that are relevant to me. I want to see 1,000 ads for 3D printers. I don't want to see ads for diapers. That's not
I
relevant to
do
me.
want to see ads for diapers, just so you know, but
Okay.
that's
I don't, we can get,
as
actually
a
don't want to
child.
get into that.
Fair enough. Not for
But seriously, I
myself.
mean,
Just for the record, not for myself. For my son, but anyway.
but in all seriousness, that's Facebook's whole business model, right? That we can highly target ads because we know a lot of data about people. Well, suddenly, if we can't collect that data, we can't target the ads as well. Well, they have gone on this spiel publicly about how, this is for the small business, this is for the businesses. Aren't they need these ads because poor little small businesses are going to hurt if they can't target. Well, small businesses are failing with Facebook ads anyway because you can't do it yourself, and if you try to, they're just taking your money. I mean, it's a gamble. Facebook ads are like, it's basically like a casino. If you're a pro, you can make real money, but if you're just going in and throwing a little money at it, you're just going to lose it. So they're scared. They know that. That's got to be their biggest source of revenue. So they're freaking out that all these small businesses are not going to use Facebook ads anymore. Well, they shouldn't. They shouldn't be to begin with. So that's a win for small business. It's a win for my project for Bordeaux because our whole focus is on organic social media and not paid ads because small businesses largely are not getting a lot of benefit from paid ads. Facebook is. So they're mad about that. That's been wild. And yes, the make them hurt comment, that is very creepy. We're going to war. And like, come on, Facebook. You are still just a flash in the pan. I mean, it's been 15 years. Congratulations. You know what happened to Apple after 15 years?
Was that
What
where
was
Newton?
that
Was that
was
Newton or
yes,
next?
that was like right around that mid 90s era, and things just fell apart. And they would have fallen apart if they hadn't gotten Jobs back on board. Like Netflix about their 15-year mark,
They were doing
maybe a
pretty
little
good.
before,
No, yeah, Netflix not a bad
but that was
example.
right when they switched to streaming, right? you have to make like 15 years, I think is becoming a pivotal moment, and Facebook is not innovating, and they're just scared, and they're losing share, and younger generations don't care, and that's why they're just becoming desperate, and they're just clinging to whatever will get them money, whether that's,
It's hard to say
political
for
extremism or who knows what.
it's hard to say though that a $100 billion company is desperate, right? You know, we're talking about it, but I'm not deleting my Facebook account. Now, I don't use it for
I'm not either.
business. I mean, I have a very strict Facebook is for family, friends, no business. I don't, it wasn't as much of a result about Facebook's policies. It was more of a result of me needing a place separate from business
Hmm.
where I can share things
Now,
like, family photos and,
yeah, oh yeah.
stupid things that no one else like outside of my family actually cares about. But
Well, I agree that yes, they're huge, and are they? I, but I think that you can be on top and still be desperate because you know that the top of a triangle is the tiniest point to stand on, and you're just so close to falling off the other side. So I think that I really do. I think Facebook knows that it's in a dire situation. I think that it's only a matter of time. They have none of the younger generation, man. Anybody under grief. I don't know anybody under 20 that really uses Facebook at this point. Now they've got Instagram. Instagram is still doing okay, but Instagram's even losing ground to like TikTok. Um, Twitter is still like wildly undervalued, I think. So they know there's competition, and I think they're just trying to cling to what they know they've got for sure.
so last two questions. First one, are you still recommending for professional for not more than small businesses, but for or even for small businesses to use Facebook ads because like I know that there's questionable stuff there, but they've as someone who worked for a company that did a lot of Facebook marketing, we had a lot of success reaching people. So like
Yeah.
should we still use Facebook? Or should we tell them to screw off and delete our accounts? Like, is
No,
for
no. So
small
it's
businesses?
it's not about that. It's really more about if you're on Facebook and you run a business page, they'll be like, why not boost this post for just $5 and you could reach this many more people. That doesn't mean anything. That's not doing anything. If you understand ads or you hire somebody who understands ads, oh my gosh, you'll get tons of real reach, real conversion. I think people will eventually probably drag me across the carpet for this, but Bordeaux being so focused on organic social, we still are running Facebook ads, right? But again, we have worked with people who understand ads and are doing it for us and with us and helping us. But it's a dense game. It's like it's still a game, right? You're not just going to throw $10 in the mix and make a bunch of sales or whatever.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
not
what Facebook wants
realistic.
you to think.
Yeah,
Exactly. They give you this unrealistic vision. Same as, again, I really think comparing it to a casino is probably the best thing you can do because you go to a casino and you see all these numbers and flashing lights and ding, 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 and everybody's making $1 million. And then you go put $10 on a craps table and it's gone in a single round. And then it's over. And then you're like, well, maybe I should play some more. If you know what you're doing, there's progress to be made. But if you just are totally new to it, you're just wasting money. So that's my whole thoughts on Facebook ads is that it can be a massive waste of money if you don't know what you're doing. But Facebook wants you to believe that you don't have to have any special skills or knowledge. You're just, you got to boost your posts and you got to run ads and just do it yourself.
but I mean, it gets like anything, right? You gotta do your homework or hire a professional. Well, otherwise, you're just
Yep.
wasting away money. All right,
Yep.
so
Exactly that.
let's move on from Facebook. They don't deserve any more of our time. Let's talk about.
Agreed.
I have one more story I wanted to cover. This one I saw last night as well. Actually, I think I saw it a couple days ago, but it's about AR. So Samsung has new AR glasses that enters competition with Magic Leap and Microsoft. Um, I know you've started working in AR and you're a big fan of
Yeah, a
it.
little
So
bit. I am, and I absolutely love AR. I feel like the other folks that I work with probably get, well, I've been a little quiet on it lately, but I think people probably get sick of hearing me talk about it because I'm always like, when can we find the right client? Like, when can we build something? AR is the future, and like this is everything, and we need this. And I don't know. I mean, I think that AR has huge upside potential. I think when Apple releases their AR system, it's game over. That it will be widespread adopted. And I think, and kind of what you and I had talked about a little bit offline was the applications of AR and kind of how much that screws up. So maybe I've got gambling on the brain, but I think casinos are the best example of like how do you when suddenly when I can just like I have an app that's counting cards for me and it's like watching the blackjack deck move around and like it's just counting and it knows and it calculates all of it instantly and tells me what to do. How do you regulate that?
You don't allow them to wear glasses. Like that's the only thing you can do is you prevent AR from being used in the building, and that's all you can do. But towards our subject, so towards our offline conversation, when I first was introduced to AR about 2 weeks before the 2016 Sloss Tech in Birmingham, Alabama, which was kind of a marketing tech conference that had Robert Scoble, who does, who's been doing AR since AR was a concept, and he came to talk. Then Gary Vee came, and this was 2 weeks after the new Pokemon AR game was released. I don't know if you remember that.
I do very
It was
much.
a crazy time. Everybody walking around playing with Pokemon. It was insane, but instantly what I saw back then, I think you and I share this thought that Birmingham is a very historical town, and like everything from from the awful things like the 16th Street Baptist bombing to Martin Luther King letters from Birmingham jail. A lot of sad and a lot of dirty history, but that really needs to be remembered. And so for me, AR would be the way to do it. Like, and AR is augmented reality, right? So you either use your phone, use a headset, use something like these AR glasses from Samsung, and you have an overlay of the digital world and whatever you want to put on there. And so for me, it was from a historical context very interesting that you could go to a place and and move your phone over or move your look at an ancient building or a historic building and see the history and see the details. Like, I think you wanted to go a step farther. Can you tell me about your
Yeah.
concept of this? Because
So very quick history. Birmingham used to have a Grand train terminal here in the middle of town, actually kind of off to the side of downtown. That was designed by the same artist who did the St. Louis Grand Terminal and Grand Central Station. All the
oh wow,
same designer and absolutely on the same scale. And having been to the Grand Central and having been to St. Louis, the pictures I've seen make it look like Birmingham Central Terminal was even more grandiose than St. Louis and maybe on the tier of
oh
Grand
wow.
Central. It was insane. I mean, it's just a beautiful place. And it was torn down in the 60s to build an interstate. A lot of shady, dirty, really sketchy stuff. Most people didn't want it torn down. It was a mess, man. It was the beginning of dirty politics in Birmingham that are still kind of rampant. But I would love to see and experience that terminal in virtual reality, augmented reality. I would love to, because every time I'm like passing over the interstate, I'm like, where did it start? Where did it end? Like, how did I've seen the pictures, but I can't in my mind make out kind of where it existed. I would love to be able to see that on a huge scale in AR and VR. And I think there's a whole lost world that exists that you can suddenly see and experience and understand the history of. And I think that when it becomes that real, then people begin to care about history just a little bit more. And I think if you care about the history of your community a little bit more, you become more empathetic. And I think there's a lot of positive applications that spin off of that. But yeah, I think that there's huge applications for just experiencing history in a very real, not just photos in a textbook. I mean, it used to be all history was oral. And then we had the photograph, and that was cool, and you could see stuff. And then, there were paintings and whatever, but photos were real. Then you had film, and you had video. You could see and experience motion, and it felt even a little more real. And every year we get more stuff, and you'll watch these like colorized, 4K-ized old videos that suddenly these pictures of videos of like ancient old England and New England, all these old things, they feel real because they feel fluid and they're high definition. And when you put all of that into augmented reality and you're right there in the action, it doesn't feel like history. It feels like a memory. I think that's the truest implication of what you and I are talking about.
Yeah, I think anything we can do to bring that to light, get kids to understand it, to know more about it, I think is a positive thing. I 100% agree with you. So, well, we do got to move on. We have 5 minutes. We actually have 4 minutes left, and we need to talk about two things. One, Devops Days.
Yes.
A little bit of history. So Michael and I are part of a group called BASE, which is the Birmingham area software enthusiasts. And now I am a remote member since I've been in Texas for 2 years, but luckily making my way back here in May. We were planning to do a tech conference, DevOps focused. It was 3 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I started. I moved, so I might have screwed that up by moving.
There's a
And
lot of factors there.
yeah, and everyone had to kind of Nathan started off his own company. You started with Alloy. It was all kind of like a culmination of things. So we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do a DevOps Days in 2022. We have everyone from Tech Birmingham, Deontay, is aware of it at least, and maybe we can time it with this Cyber Now conference, or perhaps we can time it with the Birmingham in England also has a conference coming up. That's the DevOps
That
Days.
would be
That
very
would be
cool.
sweet. So I'm waiting. Birmingham, England. Will y'all answer my tweet, please? Let's go ahead and do this. But either way, we're still gonna do it spring of next year. Timing is a little bit flexible right now, but if anyone has input on that from Birmingham, let us know. We're in
Please.
uh, the Birmingham Slack channel. What is the name of that Slack? The
It is Magic City Tech.
Magic City Tech. So that's the Slack where all the tech guys in Birmingham hang out. Check us out. One last item. We have 2 minutes. Books. Do you have any books for our audience for motivation to get them going?
Yeah, read How to Win Friends and Influence People, and then read it one more time, and then sit on it for about 6 months, and then read it again.
I think.
Um,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
I I think that's one of the most influential, important books anybody could ever read. It's a real it's ancient. It's like it's almost 100 years old now, but it just understands people. And if you get that, then you get people, and you can. It's astounding. And it's not snake oil. It's not flattery. It's based on really trying to get to the heart of people and be a good leader and really influence the people around you in your everyday life.
All right. Awesome. So how to win friends and influence people. And I think my mom has given me that book in like every format. I don't know what she's trying to tell me, but I think I've gotten it in CDs, in cassette tapes. I think there's a book somewhere around here, but
Nice.
maybe I'm not doing it right. I don't know. But Michael, thank you so much, man, for joining me
Thank
today
you.
on our second episode.
It's been fun.
It's been a blast, man. I hope we helped some people, motivated them. At the very least, got them
What's
going
that?
for this week. So I hope you have an awesome week. Hope everyone
You
else
too,
at
man.
home does as well. Thank y'all. See y'all soon.